Pray with me, please. Dear Heavenly Father, we thank you for the ability in this wonderful country to come to you in prayer. Please, Lord, help us this evening as we make our decisions. Make sure that what we say and what we do is to the betterment of our people versus ourselves. Be with this county in the next few years, the next few months as we make some major decisions to help people. Be sure that those that vote with a good heart. Please help the county to keep our officers safe, to keep our people who provide the road and bridge traffic, help them to be safe. And dear Lord, be with our military and bring them home safe and secure. We ask all this in your blessed name. Amen.
Amen. Please join me in the pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. That brings us to the roll call. Please call the roll.
Commissioner Nolte.
Here.
Commissioner Withington. Commissioner Lawson.
Here.
Commissioner Wagner.
Here.
Commissioner Johnson.
Here.
Commissioner Thompson.
Here.
Commissioner Carpenter.
Here.
Thank you. That brings us to approval of the agenda. Commissioner Johnson.
Move to approve tonight's agenda.
Motion has been made for the approval of this evening's agenda. Discussion? Seeing none, you are recognized to close.
I close.
Please call the roll.
Commissioner Johnson.
Yes.
Commissioner Wagner.
Aye.
Commissioner Thompson.
Yes.
Commissioner Carpenter.
Yes.
Commissioner Lawson.
Yes.
Motion passes 5-0.
Next on the agenda are public comments. Are there any members of the public wishing to express any opinions or comments to the commission? Seeing none. That brings us to our consent agenda. Mr. Administrator?
Good evening. We have 3 items on our consent agenda tonight. First one is our meeting minutes from May 7th, May 14th, May 21st, and May 28th. The next one is 2026-212, approval of invoice payments for Clay County for the period August 1st through August 7th. Total of 285 invoices totaling $489,258.31. And your last one is 2026 Ordinance 13, reappropriate and revise the budget, adopted budget by $258,815 to provide adequate budget for the DSSF grant for the remainder of 2026 with the Sheriff Department. That'd be it for the consent agenda.
Commissioner Johnson?
Move to approve tonight's consent agenda.
Motion's been moved to adopt the consent agenda. Discussion? Seeing none, you're recognized to close.
I close.
Please call the roll.
Commissioner Johnson.
Yes.
Commissioner Wagner.
Aye.
Commissioner Thompson.
Yes.
Commissioner Carpenter.
Yes.
Commissioner Lawson.
Yes.
Motion passes 5-0.
Thank you. That brings us to our regular agenda. The first of the 3 items that we have this evening is 2026-214. Mr. Administrator?
Yes, 2026-214, request for a waiver of fees, interest, penalties, and taxes due to county error. We have Mr. Duckett, I'm not sure he's here or not, but here that would, regarding the request.
Okay. Do we have staff that would want to make any comments before we get started?
Dieta Jacobs, Administrative Services Director. This request for waiver is put before you tonight. The gentleman has experienced significant personal issues and was unable to pay his taxes for the 23 and 24, and he's requesting that you consider waiving those penalties for that time period.
Any questions? Well, yes, I'm sorry, Commissioner Johnson.
Yeah, a couple of questions. So just to confirm, he didn't pay in it's hard to read his writing, 23 and 24?
Correct, and he did not get assessed for 25. So we only have tax bills for 23 and 24.
And he didn't have one for 25?
No.
Why?
He wasn't assessed in Clay County for 25. So he may have gotten rid of those vehicles, he may have moved out of Clay County, although,
So he didn't pay it all in 24 and 23 and 24, and because of hardships,
he still hasn't paid any, and he's requesting that you waive those fees.
And has he paid anything yet? Has he paid the,
No, sir.
and his only reason I'm seeing is he went through, it looks like a nasty divorce,
Yes, sir.
and, yeah. I don't,
He's not alleging any error on the part of the county. He's just asking for some relief.
okay.
Do you have anything further?
No, it looks like he does.
Commissioner Wagner?
Thank you. Commissioner Johnson looked like he was fishing, so I decided to bite the hook. I think to where I think the complete the thought, I think the issue is one of what state law allows and what it does not. And state law is pretty specific as to what it allows for, related to whether or not it is the fault of the county. Dieta, as you've mentioned, that our staff has said they've done what they are supposed to do. And in the written report from the applicant, he's basically alleged it is not our fault, it is his personal issue. And although I can certainly understand that when you have those hard times that you are looking for some relief, unfortunately, the relief he is looking for and the reason for it is not in state law. Which is sometimes what we have to tell people, which again is unfortunate. So I think I'll just add that, because typically my colleague would, but I wanted to help him out. But I agree with where that discussion, I think, is headed, and it is unfortunate, but I don't think we are allowed to provide that relief. So thank you.
Commissioner Johnson?
Thank you, Commissioner Wagner, and I agree, and as unfortunate as this is, I think we're legally bound that we can't waive this. So with that,
Before you make, I sense that you're getting ready to make a motion. If you would not mind, I would like to have the applicant have the opportunity to state his side of the argument. Then I would like to,
the applicant's not here.
Oh, the applicant is not
Dieta.
here. I thought he was. I'm sorry. So in that case, please proceed. I didn't realize.
Move to approve 2026-214 with the box check denies.
Motion has been made to approve 2026-214 with the box denied checked. Further discussion? Seeing none, you are recognized to close.
I close.
Please call the roll.
Commissioner Johnson?
Yes.
Commissioner Wagner?
Aye.
Commissioner Thompson?
Yes.
Commissioner Carpenter?
Yes.
Commissioner Lawson?
Yes.
Motion passes 5-0.
Brings us to 2026 Ordinance 14. Mr. Administrator?
Yes, 2026 Ordinance 14, approval, ordinance modification, approving updated annual fee schedules for 2026 through 2030, adjusting fees for the County Recorder of Deeds Office, and have a Recorder of Deeds here to provide additional information.
Hi, Sandra Brock, Recorder of Deeds. I'm going to make this easy with some good news. I only have $2 to talk about tonight. So, sorry, that was bad. There was a statewide statute establishing a new recorder's fee of just $2. It will take effect August 28th, and that will increase everything that we do in our office except for copies by $2. So recordings, plats, marriage license will all go up by $2. So we're just asking for approval of the modification for that.
Commissioner Johnson?
Yeah, so this is a state law that we have nothing to do with. We are not raising these fees, but the state is requiring us to raise it $2. And with that, move to approve 2026 Ordinance 14.
Motion has been made for the approval of 2026 Ordinance 14. Any discussion, any comment? Commissioner Wagner?
Thank you. I was just going to invite Sandy to come anytime. She only wants to talk about $2.
Yeah, $2. Thanks, that's all I want to come and talk about. Thank you.
Very well. Any further commentary? Seeing none, you're recognized to close.
I close.
Please call the roll.
Commissioner Johnson?
Yes.
Commissioner Wagner?
Aye.
Commissioner Thompson?
Yes.
Commissioner Carpenter?
Yes.
Commissioner Lawson?
Yes.
Motion passes 5-0.
That brings us to our final item on the regular agenda. That is 2026-213. Mr. Administrator.
Yes. 2026-213, approval of invoice payments for Clay County Prosecutor's Office from the period of August 1st through August 7th of 2026. Total of 11 invoices totaling $2,368.19.
Commissioner Johnson.
Move to approve 2026-213.
Motion has been made for the approval of 2026-213. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, you're recognized to close.
I close.
Please call the roll.
Commissioner Johnson?
Yes.
Commissioner Wagner?
Aye.
Commissioner Thompson?
I recuse myself.
Commissioner Carpenter?
Yes.
Commissioner Lawson?
Yes.
Motion passes 4 in favor, 1 recusal.
That concludes our regular agenda. Next on our agenda is our discussion items. The first one is presentation of annual audit. Mr. Administrator, if you'd like to introduce that.
Yes. Presentation of annual audit of our financial statements and federal grants. We have Auditor Victor Hurlburt that will hear regarding the audit.
Please proceed.
Good evening. Tonight, you're going to hear a presentation of our annual external audit of our financial statements. This is for the fiscal year ending December 31st, 2025. So we have with us Hood & Associates, our external auditors. And tonight, we have Warren Herrick, CPA, is our audit manager who will give the presentation.
Thank you. It's great to be here. I've had the pleasure of, I think, sitting down with all of you over the last few years as I've managed the audit for the city of Clay County. I'm pleased to represent Hood & Associates to present the annual results of the annual financial and compliance audit for the year ended December 31st, 2025. I think we got to do a little bit here. I know you have 3 reports on your desk because I helped put them there. So you have the annual comprehensive financial report, or ACFR for short, which is how I refer to it. You also have the single audit, which is the audit on the compliance of the schedule of expenditures of federal awards, and the required communications letter, which I will be presenting as part of this PowerPoint presentation. That's going to. I think we went too far on that one. Hood & Associates is licensed to serve in Missouri, Kansas, Oklahoma, and Texas. We have periodic peer reviews, which is where another CPA firm comes in and reviews our work, so we get to feel our clients' pain, or that we cause them every 3 years. In fact, we're going through that right now. But in our previous peer review, we got the highest award for highest rating for our work in audits. We are also members of the American Institute of Certified Public Accountants, who are the ones who dictate what auditors, external auditors, the processes, procedures, and that they have to comply to. The scope of this audit, again, is the annual comprehensive financial report, and also the single audit, which is the county's compliance with the over the schedule of expenditure of federal awards. Now, the manager's responsibilities in connection with these reports, and I apologize because I am. Management is responsible for the presentation, fair presentation of these financial statements in accordance with accounting principles generally accepted in the United States of America. This includes the design, implementation, and maintenance of internal controls relevant to the presentation, fair presentation of financial statements, that they're free of material misstatements, whether due to error or fraud. They're also responsible for ensuring that the financial information is reliable and properly reported, implementing the system designed to achieve compliance with applicable laws, regulations, contracts, and grants. And finally, the selection and application of accounting principles for the preparation and fair presentation of the financial statements, schedules, schedule of expenditures and federal awards, and all the accompanying information in conformity with generally accepted accounting principles of the United States of America. Now, our responsibility, we basically have 3 points here. We are responsible to conduct our audit in accordance with auditing standards generally accepted in the United States of America and standards applicable to the financial audits contained in the governing audit standards issued by the Comptroller General of the United States and in uniform guidance. The uniform guidance is the guidance over the single audit for the schedule of expenditures of federal awards. We're also responsible to plan and perform our audit to obtain reasonable assurance about whether financial statements are free of material misstatements. Now, reasonable assurance is a high-level assurance, but it is not absolute. We follow a risk-based approach in the audit. We take samples. We don't audit everything, so we cannot issue an absolute assurance. But we do issue, that is how we approach that. We also report on the internal controls over financial reporting and compliance with laws and regulations. The Auditing Standards Board of American Institute of Certified Public Accountants recommends that we communicate the following matters, the following 4 matters to the governing board. Illegal acts, and none came to our attention as a result of performing our audit procedures. Any changes in significant accounting policies, no significant changes occurred in 2025. Any difficulties or disagreements with management, there were none. And if there's any problem with cooperation having full access to books and records, we had great access. One of the things I always tell clients is that when I request documentation or information, if I get that information back promptly, it gives me warm fuzzies because that means that the system is running effectively. And if those documents support the numbers, then they're efficient too. And that is the case here. We have a very prompt and reliable, accurate support for all the information that we request. The financial compliance audit requires that we address that we answer these 3 basic questions. Are the financial statements free of material misstatements? We have issued an unmodified opinion that the financial statements are fairly presented in all material respects. And an unmodified opinion, that's the highest level of opinion that an external auditor can issue. Second, are internal controls over financial reporting adequately designed and operating effectively? We didn't identify any deficiencies in internal controls that we would consider to be material weaknesses. If there had been, this would be the time when we would make them known to you. And third, finally, did Clay County, Missouri comply in all material respects with the finance-related laws and regulations? Once again, no non-compliance was noted with finance-related laws and regulations that govern the county's operations. Now, in conjunction with this required communication, we also have other matters that we comment on. They're basically recommendations containing suggestions for best practices and possible improvements in internal controls. This year we had our one recommendation was business continuity and disaster recovery preparedness. This is, of course, what it sounds like when there's a disaster or some other problem, power outages, acts of nature, cyber hacks, which is the second thing, that's also included that. But we actually had a client, the last presentation I gave, they had a cyber attack, and they were down for a few days. Fortunately, they had a system in place that they were able to recover their data. Interestingly enough, when I did the presentation last time, the people following me was a vendor that was proposing to institute a new firewall to strengthen that. So those are the type of recommendations, those sort of things, and we recommend that the system of disaster recovery be reviewed and upgraded or tested on a periodic basis. Management has responded with an agreement to pursue that along with cybersecurity. This was cybersecurity was also a recommendation last year, and that is repeated because, again, as I just mentioned, it's something that's real and affecting municipalities and businesses. We also have future accounting pronouncements. There's only 2 this year that do affect the financial statements a little bit, but nothing major. It's so we don't anticipate any major changes in Clay County's financial statements in this upcoming years.
Just a moment, Commissioner Johnson, did you have a question?
Yeah, actually, I have 2 quick questions to help me understand this. First, when it comes to the business continuity and disaster recovery, are you talking about all of county government or just the financial sector, or what are we talking about?
Well, in our scope, we're really dealing with the financial information and data. Obviously, that's something that could be extrapolated to all areas of the government, but that's a little bit beyond the scope of
Right.
what we're looking at.
But you're just looking at for a business continuity plan just for our financial data, basically, if something were to happen?
Yes.
Which ties into cybersecurity as well. And then explain to me again, what is future accounting pronouncements? What does that mean?
The Government Accounting Standards Board issues pronouncements about accounting policies and procedures that have to be followed by municipalities. So all of the procedures and systems that need to be implemented by any municipality has to follow these. Well, I should say, as long as they're following generally accepted accounting principles, they have to follow these. So the 2 in particular that we're talking about, maybe one of them you remember most recently was leases. That was a big one that came up a couple of years ago where they had to be put on the books so that you were showing an asset and a liability. That was an example of accounting pronouncement that was enacted in the last few years. The upcoming ones are related to some disclosures, particularly with management discussion and analysis, some other things. Also, we have subsequent events. There's some clarification about what constitutes a subsequent event and what, if it was known before the end of the year or if it was after the year. So those are the pronouncements that have to be followed in order to be in compliance with generally accepted accounting principles.
But we're not out of compliance with that, right?
No,
That's
no,
what
no,
you're
not at all.
saying.
This is a new standard that's not effective yet. So
Yeah, okay.
if you look at the, I think it's page 4, page 4 of the required communications, the GASB Statement 103 is effective for the fiscal years beginning January 1st. So it is effective this year. The next one, 105, isn't actually effective until next year, January 1st of 2027. But yeah, no, this is just make sure you stay in compliance and nothing slips through the cracks.
Okay, thank you.
Please proceed.
And well, that basically concludes. We really want to thank the commission and Clay County, especially Victor, Benjamin, Jade, their staff. They do a fantastic job. In fact, I want to call attention, I'm going to steal some of Victor's thunder, I think, a little bit, because if you look at the act for the introductory section, Roman numeral 11, there's a certificate of achievement of excellence in financial reporting that was awarded for the first time in Clay County's history under Victor and his staff. It's quite an achievement, and we certainly commend it. It just speaks loudly what I've been saying along. They do a great job, and we appreciate them. So if there are any other questions, or if you have questions in the future, you can feel free to contact myself or Mike.
There is one other commissioner who would like to say something. Commissioner Lawson?
Yes, of course I have to say something. Thank you very much for coming and for the information. We all know in this county that we have the best auditor in the state, maybe in the country. But it is so nice to hear other people talk about his attention to detail and how honest and upfront he is with everything he does. So thank you very much for coming.
You're welcome. And I say, as a resident of Clay County, I tell people that all over the place. That not only the staff, but things are really run well here, and I appreciate it as a member of this community. So thank you.
Any other comments while we are paused? I see none.
All right. Thank you very much, Warren. Victor Hurlbert, Clay County Auditor, we got another presentation for you here as well. He had admittedly kind of the, maybe the not so fun part, but I get to do something called last year, like Warren referenced, with Government Finance Officers Association, or GFOA best practices, a type of report called the PAFR, or Popular Annual Financial Report, if you recall that we do this. And so here is the one, and I won't spend a ton of time because I know it's a lot, but for 2025, we rebranded it. We rebranded it the Taxpayers Annual Financial Brief. I think that rolls off the tongue a little better than Popular Annual Financial Report. And admittedly, it might not be the most popular thing, we understand. But the whole point of why it's called popular is it's to give a very high-level, essentially summary of the county's finances for the public, for stakeholders, for the commission. And based on the feedback we heard, we decided to rebrand it the Taxpayers Annual Financial Brief. And we try to keep it current. We try to put new visuals, new graphics, new information in it based on the feedback we get from the reviewers of GFOA. We have a little letter here, and like Warren referenced, we were excited to get our first ever COA, Certificate of Achievement, for our fiscal year 2024. Another thing you've heard me say again and again over the years is I had a goal, a target to get Clay County to be not only get the COA, which is really kind of the premier recognition for a municipal government, but also to get an award for the PAFR, or the PAFR award. And so when you have the budget award, the COA, and the PAFR award, you have something called the Triple Crown of the available awards. Well, Clay County, I'm pleased to announce, if you haven't already seen the press releases we've done, we got the Triple Crown. So pretty exciting news. And like Warren indicated, the kudos really goes to the whole team. My deputy auditor, Benjamin Pedersen, Jade Wilson's another employee who's done a lot of good work. And then I really appreciate the help from Hood & Associates. So they have a lot of experience in working with the GFOA best practices, how to format reports, and so they were a great asset. I just want to really recognize, though, that this is pretty significant. There are only 2 counties now in the state of Missouri that have the Triple Crown. So it's St. Louis County and Clay County. So, I would encourage the commission to, share that information. Certainly, St. Louis County has a staff much larger than my own when we have essentially mainly 3, but my whole team of 5 participates in some fashion. But we were able to do that, the Triple Crown. And we do this because we want to have Clay County, do the best it can, report the best so that citizens understand it. But now the challenge, of course, is going to be maintaining that, right? Now we got to keep, we've raised our standards, so we got to keep performing at that level. But I just wanted to mention that briefly. Pretty cool accomplishment. So here's what the award looks like for the COA. And one of the feedback we got from our reviewers was to put some highlights in the first section. So that's what we got here, that, we are the 5th largest county, and we're growing as one of the fastest counties in Missouri as well. Only 1.5% of the property taxes we collect actually stay with the county government, and we'll get into that in a later section as well. Here's a brief table of contents. It's essentially context. What is Clay County, Missouri? Where does the money come from? Where does it go? What's the bottom line? So that's what we're going to go through. As we all know, founded in 1822, the current population is 265,032 residents as of July 1st, 2025. So 265,000 is our current census figure. Again, 5th largest in Missouri, 6th if you include the city of St. Louis, which is its own county. I do want to point out an interesting stat. So about 20% of our population is over the age of 60. It amounts to, in that chart, about 38,000. Get to about 20% over 60. So just, an interesting factoid there to take away. More statistics. So from our sales tax, our top sales category, the NAICS code from Missouri Department of Revenue, they report is retail trade at $2.9 billion. So that's where we get most of our sales and use tax revenues. When you add in use tax or online sales, essentially, from out of state or virtual, you get up to $6.6 billion of taxable sales. I did a quick search. What is the GDP of Clay County? It's about $17 billion, according to reports. So that's an interesting context of the taxable sales we have from sales tax versus our GDP. Unemployment rate. So at the end of 2025, 3.6%, historically always lower than the state of Missouri and the United States. It's actually come down since then. Recent report is 3.2%. Nationally, though, I did see the most recent jobs report had job losses. So that'll be something to monitor what happens with the unemployment rate going forward with the economy as well. Median income in Clay County at $88,000. It's up $2,000 from last year when it was $86,000, so about a 2.7% increase. Home ownership rate has stayed the same at 69% own versus rent. The median home value increased 7.5% from 24 to 25, $256,000 to $275,000. Moving on, here's our organization. There's a picture of our good commission crew. You have 549 employees on staff as of the end of 2025, not budgeted positions total, but on staff employees broken out by financial reporting category, not necessarily our funds. Okay, so that's the context. Where does the money come from? We had $118 million of revenues in 2024. That increased from, or in 2025, I'm sorry. That increased from 2024, which was $112 million. So it increased 5%. That blue box there tells us that 61% of that $118 million, or $72 million, comes from taxes. Okay, so our largest revenue source, of course, as the pie chart suggests too, is from taxes, which makes sense for a government. Over the past decade, tax revenues have increased 75%, and total revenues 78%. So most of the increase in 2025 we looked at is from tax revenue growth, specifically sales and use tax growth. About 87% of the growth was from tax growth. Followed by grants. We had an increase in grant revenue by 37%. That's more than 100. So why is that? We actually had a decrease in some of our other categories. Our third largest category of fines and fees had a slight decrease, 13%. We'll talk about property tax revenue again. Only 1.5% of property taxes collected by the Clay County government stay with the county government. The rest go to other political subdivisions like schools, 65%, cities, 14%, and others, 18%. It's a little hard to read there, but we had $550 million of distributions in the tax year of 2025, which runs through the end of February of 26. I point out that that's a little less than last year's $585 million, but that's just because of the senior tax credit rolling out. We have distributed roughly $60 million of that, so that brings it up to more like $612 million. Property taxes were distributed for the 25 tax year. And you can see the assessment change as well. We had a reassessment in 2025. So digging into sales and use taxes, this is the primary source of our tax revenue, of course, from $72 million, $62 million of that from sales and use tax revenues. And you can see how that's broken up between the general road and bridge fund, law enforcement fund. The other non-major funds are our use tax funds, essentially. And also a good itemization, an example of our other cities in Clay County and their sales tax rates. So Clay County's is 7/8 of a cent, as we know, between the general sales tax rate and then the law enforcement sales tax rate. And then we also have the children's services and zoo. Some more on sales and use tax revenue. So we did have a 7.5% increase from 2024 with our sales and use tax revenues. So we went from 57.8 million to 62.1 million. And 86% of our tax revenues come from sales and use tax revenues. You can see how much more that is compared to property taxes, commercial surtax, and the 911 subscriber fee. Property tax actually decreased from 24 to 25 by 2.7%, 6.2 million to 6.1 million. If you look at the past 10 years, you can see the changes as well, how property taxes only increased 15%, surtax by 62%, sales and use tax by 77%, and then 911 by 812%. And why is that a high number? Well, we had the new subscriber fee when we changed from just a landline only. All right, so that's where the money comes from. If you have any questions, feel free to chime in. Otherwise, I'll keep going down on where does it go. So expenditures, we actually had slightly more expenditures than revenues in 2025 at $119 million. In 2024, it was $110 million. There are some factors in there. The American Rescue Plan Act is being spent down, so $8 million of ARPA expenditures happened in 25. You can see that it was a 7.4% increase as well. The largest category is to public safety and judicial purposes. That green colored on the pie chart has the largest amount at 42.6%, followed by general government 27%, and the highway category function at 7.9%.
Commissioner Johnson.
Couple quick questions, Victor.
Yeah.
Public safety, what all does that include?
So
Actually, more specifically, does that include the prosecutor's office?
It does. So in this case, it's public safety and judicial. So we have a lot of classifications in there, including court activity. I want to say juvenile, but then mostly, law enforcement, sheriff's office, but then prosecutor as well.
Okay. And then the other question I had has to do with retail versus use tax. What are you seeing, just anecdotally, if you have the numbers specifically, but as far as which one's outperforming which and how does that look and how are we split as far as how much comes from use tax versus retail?
Yeah, I think Damon's going to have we got a lot of presentations on financial information tonight. He's got a presentation after this on kind of mid-year budget update. I think he'll go into a little more depth.
Okay.
But I do think in recent years, and as the financial statements point out, the use tax revenues have been growing faster than retail sales. And that trend has continued even in 26. For a moment, I thought that might have been changing, but it reversed course. We had a Department of Revenue correction from some of the businesses that remitted, so we had a much lower amount in 1 month, I want to say April, than the prior year. And we were all wondering, we reached out to them directly with the treasurer, and they said it was just a one-time correction. So we've since caught up where I believe it's something on the effect of 10 to 11% higher than last year, whereas sales tax is more like 4%. And that seems to have tracked in recent years too, where the use tax, the online sales, is outpacing so much so that we're almost to a point, I think we reported 62 million. The use tax component has creeped up to almost 25%, I want to say, of a quarter of our total sales and use tax revenues. So I do think it is becoming a major, much more major component of revenue that we need to keep our eyes on going forward for sure.
I agree. Thank you.
Yeah.
Any other questions before we continue? Seeing none, please proceed, Victor.
All right. So moving on, we have debt. So this is a long-term picture on the debt. It is going to, in the current situation, going to expire in 2031. I just point out on this slide that we got a debt service obligation every year of about $2.5 million. and we're currently at 15.4 million. This is only considering our certificates of participation, long-term debt. So those are, our revenue obligations, not backed by a specific tax. But I just point out that that is about 25% of our highest point in the last 10 years in 2018, because of course we refunded the 2018 certificates of participation. And then, so where does that leave us with fund balance? So fund balances did grow from 2024. They grew by $1.7 million. We now stand at $62.3 million. 52% of that is in the general fund. And it has increased, of course, over the last 10 years, and really since the end of 2021, as the chart shows, we've kind of had a reversal. And most of that jump in 18 is from the proceeds we had on hand from that 2018 issuance. But that did not grow as fast as 2024. In 24, we had a kind of a 5 million increase in fund balance, so only 1.7 million in 2025. Again, we had more expenditures and revenues, so how does that make sense? We had some insurance claims and other miscellaneous revenue categories that get factored in that gave us that net increase in fund balance. And I can go into a little more detail as to how it breaks out by fund. So with the general fund, it had a increase, and that's the one where you have, as I point out in that blue box, you got 88% unassigned. So it's your most available resource to use with the general fund. And it's 83% of 2025 expenditures. So that $32 million is a 7% increase from last year's $30 million in the general fund. When you look at the road and bridge fund, and we're only focusing on major funds, this isn't everything here, $3.9 million, that's 47.5% of last year's expenditures. And it had a $900,000 surplus. So that change or that increase was a 30% increase. So that was something notable in our road and bridge fund. In a fairly healthy position, it seems. The law enforcement tax fund balance represents, money that's going to be spent. It's supported by the general fund, but it's got 2.6 million there. When we look at parks, this had an opposite direction. It had a decrease, a 36% decrease from 2024. It began at 3.9 million and we ended with 2.5 million. So that's certainly something to look at, but it's still 33% of 25 expenditures. The ARPA fund is really the only thing we can call our own fund balance is the interest we've accrued, because it's one-time money that will be spent. And so it's not really ours to keep. It has to be used for those eligible purposes. And to explain the other kind of county-wide balances, you have non-major funds, so use tax funds, a variety of restricted special revenue funds that did have a slight decrease from 22.9 million to 21.3 million.
Victor, I think Commissioner Johnson had a question.
Yes, thank you. Quick question on ARPA funds. Needs to be spent by 2026, and I'm assuming that we're going to do that, right? The interest on that does not have to be spent, right, by then? And it does not have restrictions, or does it?
Correct. The guidance says we do not have to remit the interest we earn back to U.S. Treasury. We get to keep it. So we've been using it for a number of projects. It's lower than that now, I can tell you, because we've done some projects. I want to say we did that freezer project in the sheriff's office in the detention center. That we used some of that. I think we did partially help fund some of the roof repairs we've done. So we've done a number of things with it. Yeah.
But that's great. So, but when the main ARPA funds are all expended, we'll still have some interest in it that could still be accruing interest. We'll still have some funds from interest.
You're correct. Yeah, there will still be a balance.
Okay.
So what you should see in the 27 budget, the only budget for the ARPA fund is unrestricted interest. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
All right, so that's fund balances. And Finally, net position, assets minus liabilities, essentially. So we end 2025 at 163 million. It is an increase from, as you can see by the chart, from 2024's over 140 million. However, again, I point out that you have 65% of that as net investment in capital assets. So it's not readily liquid. That's 106 million is the net investment in capital assets. And most of that increase would be attributed to, yes, we have strong revenues, surpluses, a slight increase in fund balance, but most of it is our investment in capital assets that drove the increase in net position over what changed with our liabilities. We had a small increase in some of our liabilities, like our pension liabilities, just due to the changing of those systems and their positions. But that's offset by how much our capital assets grew. And also we have long-term obligations going down by the end of 2031. So that kind of factors into net position. But all this to say, that's the taxpayer's annual financial brief. If you ever want to get or point citizens to some transparent information on the county, it's on the website under financial reports. You go to I think the budget finance section and then financial reports. So it's there for the public to see. We've submitted it to GFOA. So we're going to try and get another Triple Crown and keep at it. So I thank Hood & Associates and again my team, and happy to answer any of your questions.
Are there any other questions or comments? Commissioner Carpenter.
No questions. Just want to say thanks for the presentation, excellent as always, and just for the excellence in general. I think it's awesome that we've achieved the Triple Crown, and we should all be proud, and especially you. So thanks.
Once again, a great job as always, Victor. We certainly appreciate having you come here and give us the report. Thank you. Mr. Administrator. By the way, we have now moved from the first discussion item to the second one, which is mid-year budget update for those who may be watching and trying to follow along. Mr. Administrator.
Definitely. We moved from 2025 to 2026. So it's a continuation of what you saw from 2025, and now we're in our mid-year financial update. Can I go through that? First, we'll look at our June monthly auditor report, along with our financial policies, annual obligations, over budget monitoring. I mean, one of the things we have to do is look at where we're going regarding the budget. Treasurer sales and use tax, kind of going back to what Commissioner Johnson just mentioned earlier, those trends. Capital improvement progress, looking at those projects themselves. And one of the things that HR vacancies, looking at that to see that as a budgetary impact as well. And the last one is classification and compensation plan status. It's one of the things that Commissioner Johnson asked about the other day, a couple of meetings ago. So cash on hand, about 47 million on hand, which is about 32% of your operating budget expenditures and 41% of your budget revenues. And by the way, they did a great job with the Triple Crown as well. I meant to mention that. For me coming aboard to have Victor and his staff available to help me in that transition portion as a budget officer has been a real good thing for myself. Going back to it. So year-to-date income, you have your revenues and your expenditures. So right now, going back, this is June. So just make sure we understand that part of that is that we wanted to use the audited numbers to use that. That's one of the reasons why it's delayed compared to June, because you want to have a step. You want to start at the numbers based on the audited numbers that we received from them. So have a surplus right at that time of about $3 million. Next one you look at is your fund balance and emergency appropriation policy. So the general fund and law enforcement fund, cash-wise, is about 26% of the budgeted amount of revenues. So yet $20,934,164. And then revenues, you had 81 million. So your target is about 20%. Goal is about 30%. We're getting towards that direction as you increase your fund balance and look at other things, make good financial decisions as we go forward. That increases that towards a direction we're trying to go in 2030. Other significant funds are targeted about 15%. So as you go down that policy, the green, of course, we're on the right track. As you see in the middle there, the use taxes, those two red ones, and that's based off the money that's being spent. If you think about the capital projects and the timing of those, that sometimes they're earlier than when the money is coming in. So we may put those under contract, which is the reason why you see a deficit amount, well, not even a deficit, just the amount of, regarding policy-wise, we're not able to get that 10% that we're trying to get to show our fund balance. Next one, something I wanted to start looking at, and you'll see me highlight in your budgetary presentations, is your annual obligations. See there, those first two payments, actually three of them, are due in April. So you make those right off the top as some large payments that you make. So it says 2021, those looking at being paid off by 2031. So we want to start tracking those, because those funds will come back to us once we pay those bonds off, those long-term obligations off. Those are things we want to start looking at and planning for as we go forward. The other one is, of course, the Smithfield Lake lease items. The other one is the road district items. So the Smithfield Lake lease, those are also 2030, 33, I believe, no, 32. So 2031 and 2032. If you total up those, we are almost at close to almost $5.5 million, about $5 million of obligations that you have to pay out. So monitoring over budget items. So you kind of look at the items thinking about what's going to happen as we go forward. And I point out one that we talked about, and I sent you an email about it a little while ago, was that tuition reimbursement. That's a good thing. We budgeted about $60,000. We're at about 94% of that, and we had put it on hold until we can figure out another direction regarding that one. That is our tuition reimbursement to our employees. I want to say we had probably one of the largest amount of class, would you say, Kim, as far as those who participated in that program. And so what we're looking at, we had some discussions this week of how to move forward. So we're going to open that back up, increase the amount going forward. What ends up happening is that fall semester, which starts this year, you typically pay those payments going the next year. So it falls into the next budget. So we're going to increase that amount, that's $60,000 to $75,000, because that is about the amount of people that we had that participated. So it was cutting away from those who participate each year. So we should be able to open that back up and allow more to participate in that.
A moment, I think Commissioner Wagner would like to comment.
Yeah, sorry. It's the slide before.
Oh, no problem.
Your slide number 5, actually, that I was going to ask a question.
Oh, okay. Want to go back?
Regarding the road districts piece, so in our budget, we subsidize those road districts. So my question is, with the numbers that you have here, does that represent the just the property tax and sales tax that is currently collected and goes out, or does that also include the number that we subsidize it by?
That's what's currently going out.
Okay, so just to I guess, point out then that the reality is the annual obligation is a little bit bigger.
Yeah.
But that obligation is satisfied through the general fund. Is that
Yes, for anything beyond what we were collecting,
Yeah.
we get it out of the general fund. So like this upcoming year is one of the things we looked at is that amount, that $940,000, that sales tax
Yeah.
will be increasing by almost $500,000 to about $1.4 million.
Got it.
So as that continues to grow, we got to supplement it with our general fund.
Right, so,
Yeah.
and so that basically flips that total to more like 11 million because of that
Yes.
issue.
Yeah.
Okay, I just.
And it's something that we're looking at, I've started going, as we did more into that this past year, it's something we have to look at because this is long-term impact on us.
Yeah.
I mean, because ultimately we still have a job to do as well with our roads
Right.
as supplementing the others, and seeing as for us, long-term, it's just not a sustainable opportunity for us.
Absolutely.
So,
Totally agree. Thank you very much.
the other one I want you to take notice of is law enforcement prisoner boarding cost. That one is, we budgeted $220,000 and about 189, almost 190,000. So it's not unusual for us to be a little ahead on that one. Myself and Sheriff's Office has talked about other opportunities to help alleviate that, including maybe making some changes to our detention center that will allow us to bring more of our prisoners back and then board them in-house instead of out. So those are things we are looking at as well. That will be coming up in the upcoming budget. And ultimately, we're going to have to trend more and increase our budget going forward regarding that one. So, because that boarding cost is increasing for us, which on the backside is causing us to not have a shortfall going forward on that. Going back to your question, Commissioner Johnson, there. So you have the top two, your sales tax and your use tax. So your change is about, compared to last year at 2025 and 2026, for a 6-month look, it's about 5.5% is there trending compared to 4.3, which is about what Victor mentioned earlier. So that is a 6-month. So going full year, because you'll probably see more increase during the summertime, or who knows what could be impactful regarding that one, especially regarding the use tax. You get that you're probably about a month and a half when you receive those amounts. Next one is your CIP. Looking at our projects that we have, so not started about 55, but in progress and complete. So almost 40% of those are in progress or complete. So we're looking at those as far as different ones called capital projects, those within parks, within road and bridge, within facilities. A major portion of those as well, we've already either got out for bid or working towards that direction, have designs regarding those as well. So, and the amounts are 55 is probably pretty robust in the amount, because some of those projects are pretty small and be a combination of different projects. And some we will not be doing because some of them were tied to different areas that we just will not be able to move forward. Your next one, you look at your position vacancies. As you can see, our snapshot is up to last week, about the same, about 9% vacancy rate out of the 614 full-time budgeted positions. I've been signing quite a bit as far as helping with that. Some of the same areas as detention, along with juvenile, other places like that. It's just hard to keep personnel regarding that one. But we've been trying to look at other ways as we do our recruitment, working on that, as well as other opportunities to try to create avenues to fulfill those positions in outreach. One of the things you asked about was that classification of comp study status. So I want you to take into consideration, there's two things. One is on your general staff, your mid-range, and was trying to get to a step 10 out of 20. And law enforcement, which is also your 24-hour ones, step 9, because you had about 14 steps. So going back up to the top there, you said the hundreds, which is 311 count. Your average step right now is about 7.6 out of 10, which is what you're aiming at. At the 200s, you're at 6.8, and at the 300s, of those 12, you're at 7.4. So 6.8 out of 9 and 7.6 out of the 10 is where you are. So you're not, this is definitely a forever flowing situation, because as we hire, so things we're trying to do is looking at our practice regarding hiring, where you're hiring them at as far as stepwise, because that will help you regarding that one. The other one is as you move forward with our, like this year we gave a step, mid-year step, so that's taken consideration. The other one is you start to look at going forward, where could we?
Before
where
you
could we
go
help?
forward, we have a couple of commissioners
okay.
wanting to comment. Commissioner
Go ahead.
Wagner.
Let him go ahead and finish this one. I'm on the
No, you
last
go
one.
ahead. Go ahead.
All right, go back to slide number 9.
Okay.
Kind of a two-part question, knowing that that vacancy rate goes across a number of different departments and offices, and so it may be a little bit unfair, and you may not have the answer to this one, but I've always said, especially when we get to budget time, and I pointed out my concern related to the vacancy rate and our net income that we've had at the end of the year, with the thought that as that vacancy rate goes down, you actually get closer and closer to zero as far as your net position is concerned. And so the question I had was somewhat of, where do we really want that vacancy rate to go, knowing that you'll always have it? And what is the budgetary implication of getting to that point?
As
And
far
you
as
can answer
we
that later if you want to.
got you. Budgetary probably will wait till later.
Yeah.
But we want it to go down. I mean, because ultimately you're paying for it in another fashion. You're paying for it with your overtime. You're paying for it in probably turnover employees. Because every time you onboard an employee, there's a cost to that as well. And when you have a vacancy rate in certain positions, requires a lot more effort by those who are remaining or those who are currently in those positions, which typically can cause burnout as well too. So you're paying for it regardless, and on our end, we'd much rather that vacancy rate go down and decrease, even though you may, you're going towards a direction where you have less net position, but you budgeted for that position from the beginning. And so you understand where you're trying to go and where we were supposed to be going and trying to fill those positions from the beginning.
Sure. Well, I'll just add, and then I'll let you move on to the next one. I seem to recall slides that suggest that if we were to fill all positions, we would be in a negative position, essentially relying on carryover to take care of that discrepancy. So I understand you've got those you're paying things one way or the other, but what has always struck me, and when I see a vacancy count of 53.5, 59.5, it just suggests to me that if we were to fill all those positions, yes, I wouldn't be paying overtime, but I got everything else.
Yeah.
And I've got a position that now requires us to dig into carryover. So it's one of my favorite topics, so I look forward to any opportunity to bring it up. And so I can't resist this time. And there's obviously nuance to that, but I just want to call that out, especially as we get into the next budget, which I won't even vote on, those sorts of issues. So thank you, I appreciate the answer.
And I agree with you. I mean, when you look at that and looking at the carryover, it goes back to revenue. And so that's also, it's good to look forward towards the debt that you get paid off. That would be potentially coming back to your coffers. That's something that's not being expended out, but it's revenue. Something you have to look at regarding that.
There's another commission wishing to comment. Commissioner Johnson.
It's on this slide, yes. Just so I understand this slide right. So grades, select 100s, that's your general staff. And this says we have 311 of them, and the average step, the average employee is the average number of employees is at 7.6 on the step. And step 10 is the halfway mark. Step 10 is the 50th percentile on that is where we want to get to, at least where we want to get to at a minimum. And are there some that are the general staff that are over step 10?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, you have some that are, we range between 10 through, we actually have some at the final step at 20 this coming year.
Oh, really? So everybody that, how do I say this? What would it cost to get everybody to where they should be, to at least the 50th percentile?
So that 4.2 million
that's that number to get everybody there?
That's taking consideration of as well as compression. That's a general idea of what we could be at. But that's to be an annual cost, not including anything regarding if we decide to do a cost of living adjustment this year, or if you decide to do another step this year. So it's it's a forever flowing thing. So that would be at that point.
But that step 10, that 50th percentile, that was the 50th percentile 2 years ago when we had the study done, right?
Yes. Well, it's still the same step. 25, but it's 25, but it's still the same step. That amount changed when you did a cost of living adjustment. So your COLA adjusted that amount. So say step 10 was at, let's use amount, at $20 an hour.
Okay, so we're adjusting the step 10 every year with the
Yes.
COLAs?
Yes.
Okay.
So you adjust every year with your COLA, but then your step will still be the same.
Okay, so that essentially keeps our salary study current.
Yes.
So we still want to give them a step 10, okay. Yeah, to me, it's real important that we figure out a way to get our employees to that level, to at least the 50th percentile. I'd like to see higher, but at least that. I mean, that was the whole purpose. We knew when we did, and I know this is before your time, we knew when we did the class and comp study that we were going to be low. We didn't have to have a study to tell us we were low. The study was to give us a roadmap and a plan on where we're going to get to. And now it's up to us to figure out how we make that happen.
Yeah.
We talk about a prevailing wage.
Mm-hmm.
We require prevailing wage for some people, outside contractors, but we don't pay prevailing wage to our employees.
Mm-hmm.
Prevailing wage being the average,
Yeah.
being the 50th percentile. And I think we need to do whatever we can to get there, and I don't know what that means or what that looks like, but I don't want to. I guess what I'm saying is I don't want this to just to fall off the table there and we forget about it. I want to keep this at the front, moving forward with our budgeting and stuff, so that we can get where we need to be.
Yeah, and there's some practices we're starting to look at too, like when we hire in, how are we looking at that as far as what step you come in at? The other portion is we look at a compression. How's that look for people when they get promotions? So there's some things internally we're looking at too that can help with that. It won't take a huge chunk out of that 4-point, but it will start picking off those who may be at a certain point. So it is something. I mean, it's something that changes a lot too. When you start to think about employees that you bring in, but also employees that you have, staying on top of that, and then you're 1 year into that. Into your study, and then going back to what Commissioner Wagner mentioned, if you ever were at that point where you're fully staffed, what does that look like? Continue taking out of your coffers to make up for that. Right. So that goes back to that one where we show your fund balance. So that objective of trying to get to that 30% in 2030, that starts to eat away because you're not going to be able to get to that as quick as possible.
And like Commissioner Carpenter always says, there's two sides of the ledger. We got to be aware of that. If we want to pay more money, we got to bring more money in. I get that. But there can also be we're just going to need to look at everything, I think.
Definitely.
That's it. That's all I can say. Thanks.
Thank you.
Commissioner Carpenter.
Well, yeah, Commissioner Carpenter wants to make that point again, which is, we are going to come up on important budget discussions soon. We're going to come up upon tax discussions again soon, just like we do every year. And while I certainly take the view that we ought to be as efficient as possible with how we expend funds, I share your goal of getting our folks up as many steps as we can. But the bottom line is that's going to take tax money. As our auditor pointed out, the vast majority of the money that comes in to fund county services comes from the taxpayers. If we want to be able to show up for our, whether it's our sheriff's deputies or we want to be able to pave the roads, all of our big ticket expensive items are going to take revenue at the end of the day. And in my view, I would be more than willing to look at the spreadsheets, but I think there's a lot more money on that side of the equation than there is on the occasional prevailing wage project that the county engages in. And so I doubt that we're going to get that 4.5 million per year, because that's on top of what we're already paying. I mean, that's an important point, right? That number is gonna be hard to achieve, but we ought to strive to achieve it. I certainly agree. But all the more reason when we come to tax season again, we just ought to be judicious and prudent with how we make decisions around increasing or decreasing revenue, so that we can be prepared to make ends meet and meet our obligations and pay our people well. So, thanks.
I think that's probably, and that's a question that has plagued all governments who've tried to maintain this balance, and that is to pay employees what they should be paid, to try to do our best to make sure we treat them right. However, we also have to balance that with revenues, and obviously the monies that we have come from the taxpayers. So that is a balance that is a constant battle. There is never an end point on that. In the same way that our achievement of the 10 is not, there's an end point to that, but the thing is, it is a moving target in that when we do cost of living increases, which obviously are necessary and good, that moves the goalposts a little bit. So it's going to be an issue that we will continue to wrestle with. I think we all would like to see lower taxes, but we do have to keep in mind to do it in a responsible way that will allow government to continue functioning in a way our citizens expect it to run, and also that will treat our employees fairly and produce a quality government for our people. So, Commissioner, oh, I thought you were pushing your button, Commissioner. Sorry. Any other comments? Please go right ahead. Did you have anything further, or had you reached the end of your?
No, that'd be it tonight.
Okay. Before we close the discussion, any other commentary? Very well. With that, we go to reports. We have one report, Mr. Administrator.
Yes, we have our monthly auditor's report, cash basis monthly report for July 2026. It's within your packet for additional perusing.
Very good. The next item is County Administrator comments, so you're up again.
Yes, so we have next business meeting would be August 20th at 6 p.m. Also, want everyone to be aware that tomorrow the annex will close at 1 p.m. Due to the assessor's annual software update. They want to have accessibility during that time, so it will be closed at 1 p.m. The other one is, of course, topic of budget. We've started our budget meetings this past week with the departments, and I'll be rolling out the budget schedule coming up as far as presenting that to you all as a commission and to the public. The other one is that held a active shooter training this past week for our employees. Our risk manager, Christine Ponce, did a good job, had a good turnout. It's something that you have to do regarding safety and risk, and allows us to reevaluate where we are and how we serve the public, but also how we can help our employees, equip them with the right information. The other ones, we have 3 participants starting tomorrow in Emerging Leaders. It's an academy that you have been part of for quite some time, but this year the Northland portion is utilizing the LERC as a location of meeting, and that will include Brandy Young, Craig Ritchie, and Amy Agdarian. So we have 3 different departments, well, 2 departments and 1 office represented. Make sure I get that right regarding that one. So other one is, I'm not done on the Christine bandwagon there. So Christine, well, she should come on out. So she was one of 5 recipients that received the 2026 National Safety Council Advanced Safety Certificate Assistance Program Scholarship. That's a long word. But the Advanced Safety Certificate is a nationally recognized professional development program that provides in-depth training in occupational safety, hazard recognition, risk assessment, and incident investigation, OSHA compliance, and building a strong safety culture. The scholarship covers the full cost of completing the certificate program. Again, that's a national certificate safety program that received a scholarship. So wish you the best. I know this will be a year long. And the certificate is completed August 31st of 2027. So congratulations. Thank you. As of last week, we had the one Boss of the Year. We have another one receiving a full scholarship. So you see the input and the effort that our employees have shown to be nationally and state recognized.
Thank you. That brings us to Commissioner comments. Commissioner Lawson?
Yeah, I just want to say congratulations, wonderful job. When I first came on board, the people that were so very good to me were she and Brandy. They kind of kept me in line, and, you know, any questions that I had, I could always go to them, and just a sharp, wonderful young lady, and we appreciate you very much.
Commissioner Wagner?
Thank you. First of all, I do not believe anyone can keep Commissioner Lawson in line. Number two, congratulations, Christine. A lot of work over the next year. Study hard, do what you got to do. But I'm very happy for you in this opportunity, so good luck with that. Finally, despite my hard-charging questions to the county administrator, I do wish you a happy birthday.
Oh, my God, yes.
And I am hopeful that you will make your next one. So I'm going to dial down the questions to assure that that happens. But I know you will celebrate with your family, but I just want you to know that it was recognized, and if I couldn't have forgotten it because there's like all this stuff at your door. So thanks for whoever did that, because it made sure I remembered to acknowledge that. But again, happy birthday.
Commissioner Johnson? Commissioner Thompson?
I'll just pop in and say, great job, Christine. Good job. Eat some more extra candy that I brought back. And I want to say thank you to all of our staff who did the great job on all their presentation, and our auditor, of course. And Damon, thank you so much for giving us that lovely presentation and saving it this week upon my return. Thanks.
Commissioner Carpenter?
Yes, congratulations to Christine. Excellent. Also, happy birthday. I did a whole tour with Damon this morning of the Workforce Development Center over there and didn't tell you happy birthday, so I apologize. Happy birthday. Also, still have troops in harm's way. God protect the troops. Thanks.
Thank you. Now, I did remember to say happy birthday to Damon because I saw the regalia outside of his office. It looked like, I don't know, you've been to New Orleans lately, so I just thought you brought Mardi Gras with you. I wasn't entirely sure. Congratulations, Christina. Also, thank you very much for the presentations we had tonight on our budget. Obviously, our auditor, our county administrator, all the staff that has worked so hard. It is a demonstration of how this county has come a long, long ways, and how we are now, I think, providing a level of excellence that has not been seen in this county for some time. I also want to acknowledge, because we have been experiencing heat beyond what we would normally experience, and I think, especially with Tom here, I think it's important to acknowledge that we have a lot of workers who are out in this heat working hard. There is an enhanced risk involved when you're working in this kind of heat, especially the physical hard labor that they do. I think we need to keep in mind the dedication of all of our employees, but particularly those who are working despite these conditions, and certainly give them an attaboy, because this is above and beyond. This is not normal, and so they are working beyond what they kind of signed up for, but they're sterling people, and we certainly appreciate them. And please, Tom, and obviously Parks and everywhere else where we have employees who are exposed to the elements, please pass on our gratitude that they are working through this particular hot season, and it does not go unnoticed. With that, we are adjourned.